another tool you have in your handouts is what's from my book, the 4-Square Reflection Tool. And this actually helps you know if your students are understanding the difference between thoughts and feelings. So if they have an experience and they go out, then they write on one side what happened. Kids do need to tell what happened. Lulu needs to tell what happened. She needs to tell the description of what she did and the steps she took. And then from having laid out the story, she could tell us how she felt about it. So that's how this works. What happened? How do I feel? What ideas are generated? And what questions do I have? This is an example of how to do written reflection so that you capture these 4 angles. You're getting kids to think about their questions and share them. That turns them into risk takers by putting out the questions they have that they might otherwise not share, or being more out there with their ideas. These 4 boxes give us a place to start with building that sense of reflective ability. And also, you may not use it all the time, but you'll find it can work. After students do this for a little bit, they may say, wait, we want to create our own squares. And they could redo it. And they may say, let's throw this out all together. I want to do these 4. Or let them play with these notions and these ideas. Now, the other thing we need to watch out for is what I call the elephant in the room. I developed a theory called smelly elephant theory. Anybody heard of it yet? I mean, you weren't in that workshop, were you? Some of you do. Kim, you've heard of my smelly elephant. I know you do. All right, here's what smelly elephant theory is about. One of the problems with having a discussion that is reflective, or any kind of discussion with students, is we have lost the ability to hold the integrity of our own thinking. Have you seen that happen? I'll give you an example. If you were in my class and we went to the zoo, and after we went to the zoo, we were going to have a reflective discussion about the zoo, I might say, so what animal did you really like? And what you might say is the smelly elephant, right? And what would everybody do? Laugh. And so the next person's going to talk about what? Smelly elephant. The next kid? And the same thing. Until we might transfer to the smelly monkey, but you know it's going to be smelly. And the kid who wanted to talk about the long-necked giraffe isn't going to say it. They're going to stick with the smelly monkey because that's where the trajectory went on. Learning how to hold the integrity of your thinking is critical in learning and in life and in reflection. So what do I do? Okay, we're going to have a discussion about the zoo, so everybody take a moment, and even little kids can do this. Draw a picture or get into shape, become the animal that you want to tell about with little kids. Or write down 2 words that will remind you of your idea. So we go around, you're sharing your idea rather than the idea that's influenced by someone else. You can exercise this in any academic class. If you're teaching history and you want to ask a question about the Civil War, you might have everyone jot down their idea before everyone starts sharing ideas, so you get young people and adults to follow the integrity of their thinking. When I lead focus groups with adults, I tell them the smelly elephant theory, and I make sure they write down their ideas before they take them public. This holds on to the integrity. So the smelly elephant idea will help improve reflections in that manner. So when we look at the reflection, the service learning process, we can see that reflection should not just happen one time, that it needs to be ongoing. It happens in every stage of service learning, in every possible way, through music, through poetry, through acting things out, and so forth. So I'd like to take you through, as a closing, because I know Donna gave me my 10-minute sign, so we want to talk about parents and books for a moment, am I right? Little finale. As I'd like to take you through one more reflection. And this is going to be combining quite a few things we did, but I need you to play act with me. Is everybody ready? Everybody good? All right, because people often, again, I'm going to close with the notion that people say, I don't have time. Because that's still an impediment that I still hear goes on in schools today. So let's say we just came back from going to 4 visits to a convalescent home as a class, right? That we were visiting, we were taking on the idea of bringing joy to the lives of people often isolated. We saw a real need, we did the investigation, we learned about elders, we did all this, and we've had now 4 visits, and today was the last one. And the bell's going to ring in how many minutes? Like 2 minutes. I have 2 minutes to do a reflection before school's over, and that's it. So we don't even have time to take out paper and pencil, would you agree? So we're going to just take a moment. So class, I'd like you to show me by how you're sitting and your physical expression, how you felt the day I said, we're going to visit people in a convalescent home. Now I'd like you to show me by your physical expression and how you're sitting, how you felt when you walked in and all those smells hit you for the first time. Now I'd like you to show me by your expression and how you're sitting, how you felt when your partner, your elder partner, held your hand and said, please don't go. feel today when they threw you a party and you didn't expect it? How many of you felt something and you weren't even in the convalescent home? Imagine taking kids on an emotional memory tour of an experience and then going into writing. Would that enrich what people are doing? So we can very simply and very easily transform what we're doing with reflection so that young people see what it looks like. And once they see what it looks like, trust that they can then design reflection and they can leave reflection with others. The last few pages in your handouts, there's 2 pages with some writing samples. I'm hoping that next year in our workshops we can do something on writing and service learning, perhaps for one of our meetings. But this gives you a 2-page lesson plan on the role of the editor, and it gives samples of reflections and how it could be used. So this might be something to look at and decipher. The last page I just want to show you is all about parents. We wanted to talk for a moment about parent involvement in service learning. Am I right, Donna? So what I do is I gave you an excerpt from my book on parents and service learning. So this is one of your last written page. And it talks about the roles that parents can have in being supportive in schools for service learning. And then also there's an idea box of some ideas on getting parents involved in committees, being liaisons for service learning, being guides for other parents, and so forth. Now, quite a few years ago, I wrote a publication called Parent Involvement in Service Learning. And Donna's already made a commitment to have copies of those available for every school. Is that what we're doing?
Yes, at the fall meeting.
The fall meeting. All of you will get copies of Parent Involvement in Service Learning in the fall. All of you attend. It's a simple booklet that really just talks about ways to involve parent. I don't mean simple like simple, but I mean it's a small booklet. Let's put it that. It talks about ways to get parents involved in service at your school, and also to increase the possibility of families doing service. So that family units do service together, which also supports the service learning in schools and builds a new community of service providers in your community, and families doing service together. It's wonderful ideas in there. So we'll give that out in the fall. Were there any other comments about parent involvement we wanted to make this time?
The important thing about parent involvement, and I think from the parent perspective, is that when we started this, schools were doing, their commitment to community was a food drive.
It was the food drive, bringing the canned food when kids were bringing all the stuff that they hated in your closets and that were old, and that was it, and being in the auditorium. The transformation of this organization and service learning is that now it's an impassioned, person-to-person connection type process. So as a parent, there were a lot of us that got on the bandwagon, oh, we have to do this, and we went to the administrators and teachers and saying, we want our children doing this. And there was a lot of pushback from teachers, needless to say, we don't want parents telling them what to do. The flip side is the parents can provide a myriad of opportunities to make your life so much easier. It's not that service learning takes so much more time. It takes less time because you're impassioned and your students are impassioned and your children are just like so engaged. And Tommy Trouble in the back corner is all of a sudden like the most participatory person in your classroom. But you do need people to help you make phone calls or logistics with cars or even some fundraising, or there's just 1,000 things parents can do. So I encourage parents to approach your teachers and administrators with an open heart and an open mind into, this is a new modality, we like to teach this theory. You know, Lou is a perfect example of a product that comes out of an experience she had in the 2nd grade. And how can we make this happen? How can we assist you? How can we make this a successful experience together? Again, as a parent, this is my entire background. So I really encourage you guys to be on that page rather than more confrontational or you're not doing it this way, or administrators and teachers don't want to hear that. But they do really, really want your support. So.
I love the idea of Tommy Trouble in the back. That was very clever, Donna. So how many of you are here as a primary role as a parent at your school? So I want to first of all just give you a round of applause for coming, because we know that parents are essential partners. And that parents, really do need to be seen as partners. And the more we can do that, the more we can engage parents. And understanding the role of every person, administrators, teachers, parents, and students in the service learning process will always empower the students the most. Lulu was very clear. She said she needs a network of support system to give her the skills, the confidence, the contacts, to drive her places. Let's get down to basics, am I right? To fly on the plane next to her, whatever it is. To be there to make sure that she can succeed and gets the skills she needs. So every person in the room plays a critical and valuable role. So I just want to end with one of my favorite quotes. To look backward for a while is to refresh the eye, to restore it, and to render it more fit for its prime function of looking forward is reflection. So how many of you came up with some new ideas for reflection today? Remember, we have plenty of time for this. This is the heart of service learning, is where reflection lives. And so I hope you move forward with heart as you go forward. We have our dates for next fall. October 10th at the Skir Ball. That's when we have our spring tea. It'll be in the afternoon, usually 3:30 to 5:30. And we have community partners coming. We'll develop a theme. There'll be other people from the group who will be leading it, outside experts. We never know. We'll be planning over the summer. For those of you who'd like to help Donna plan the groups.
Interested in strategy planning, it's one of the most exciting parts of the CSL actually. Just please give me a hand over your email and I'll give you a list. You're welcome to, we really do seek out new input and new ideas. Things change, we need to know what your needs are,
So on your way out, we can invite you to do a few things. Grab more food. That can be dinner for your family. Visit the book table. The book. Yes, let me have the book and I'll show you. Thank you. When we were looking as a gift, thank you for coming to the spring meeting, we wanted something that would go into full bloom. So we've gotten you copies of First Garden, which is the White House garden and how it grew. It tells you about, through time, how there have been White House gardens, not just with the Obamas, but with many administrations from Jefferson and onward. So it's a book that really tells about service learning. It gives you the history, it gives you English, it gives you science, and then it ties together with the possibility of creating a garden. So we want you to grow and keep extending service learning. So we thank you with this book for participating in our day-to-day, and we hope you'll be a permanent fixture in our service learning meetings and connect with each other to advance service learning. Please stop by the table over here for several reasons. There's a beautiful display of some of Lulu's work there that'd be great to take a look at. There's books you can buy, and again, Cathy can help you if you want to pay later. I also have some calendars to give away that are from a school up in Eureka. They've been making a series of calendars for service learning, and they gave me some to give away. Take Another Look 2012. It's a calendar that combines history and photography and community building, so they're free for the taking. So help yourself with those, and we will see you in the fall. Hold on.
Yeah, and for those of you who haven't participated, one of the things that we offer as ECSL is a collaborative opportunity to work together as schools. So far, we've published a book in our Village LA, and we've put together, compiled a calendar, Our Healthy Planet. Next year, we'll probably be doing another collaborative opportunity. So I just wanted to mention that. And Lulu has some information here on the organizations that she works with and some of her stories. So make sure you visit this end of the table where there's lots of interesting resources.
And one more comment. I just want to let you know I've got several books that I've written here, and one I wrote with Lee Cousteau, and that's called Going Blue, a teen guide to saving our oceans, lakes, rivers, and wetlands. We'll have a new book out in October called Make a Splash for elementary school kids. And we're running some institutes this summer. It's written on the back side of your green sheet. If anyone's interested in going to a 3-day institute, we'll be leading in Charleston, South Carolina, and Washington, D.C. to turn kids into citizen journalists for environmental issues. So I just want to draw that to your attention. And also to the water bottles at the end of the table. These are ways that you can replace single-use water bottles with bottles you can refill again and again and again. And students have sold over 400,000 of these bottles. It's an initiative in 26 states and 3 countries to get communities off single-use water bottles. If you're interested in being part of that service learning idea, just ask me and I'll give you the information. So those are here for $10 each, so enjoy. Thank you. Thanks again to Oakwood.